right, Algebra 1, Lesson 75. This is writing the equation of a line and then slope-intercept method of graphing. Now, there's quite a bit of material on this one, so stay with me the whole time. I've already got my graph here, and it cannot be erased. I used a wet erase for this lesson, it'll help me. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is if I were to tell you to graph x equals 3, okay? In order for me to graph x equals 3, that means that y can be anything. So let's do 3, 1, x is 3, so 3, 2, x is 3, so negative 1. Let's just do those three, and I want you to see what happens. So if my x is going to be 3, then 1, 2, 3 on my x-axis, y-axis. So 3, 1 would be here. Okay? 3, 2 would be here. And then 3, negative 1 would be here. So as you can see, I would have a straight line through that. Okay? So x equals 3 is a straight line through the 3. On the x-axis, this is the 3, and it's through that. So this shows x equals 3. All right, let's do x equals 5. Okay, if x is 5, then let's say y is 1. If x is 5, then y is 4. If x is 5, then y is negative 3. Let's try that. So if x is 5, then this would be the coordinates. So 5, 1, 5, 4, and 5, negative 3. Hopefully you can see that when my x is that number, 5, it goes through it vertically, a straight line. So x equals 3 is this, x equals 5 is this. Now let's do some y numbers. Okay, and I'm going to make them blue. All right, here we go. So now y, if y is 2, okay, then that means, let's say x is 1, so that means, y is 2. X is 2 and y is 2, so y's are staying 2's. And then x is negative, let's do a negative number, negative 3, and y is 2. So these are my coordinates with y as 2 every time. So let's do this. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, and negative 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. What do you see happening? It's a horizontal line through the 2. Okay, that's y equals 2. All right, now let's do a y equals a negative number, negative 4. Y equals negative 4, okay, so then x can be anything, 1, negative 4, 3, negative 4, because y is always going to be negative 4, and then let's do a negative number, negative 5, and then y, negative 4. All right, let's graph that and see what it comes out to be. 1, negative 4, 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 4, and as you can see, we have a line that goes through negative 4 horizontally, okay? So, y equals something will always give you a horizontal line as your answer, and the x equals something will always give you a vertical line, okay? And so, those are just some ways to graph those certain numbers, okay? That's just the very first thing that we're going to talk about. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is Y-Intercept Form. This is something that you may have learned about last year. I'm trying to remember. Y-Intercept Form is this. Y equals mx plus b. Now, all those letters, I'm going to explain to you what they are and what they mean, okay? But you need to memorize this formula. Because when you take your ACT, SAT, they're going to tell you to write something in slope-intercept form, or even to graph something that's in slope-intercept form, and this is how you're going to know it. So this is what you need to know. All right. Now, this B is the Y-intercept, and I'm going to explain to you what that means in just a minute. but go on and take notes. The B is the y-intercept. The M is the slope. Okay? And the rest you don't do anything with. Okay? So now, stay with me. Go on and finish writing that down, okay? Now, next thing I want to show you is, I'm going to show you a graph, and all that I'm wanting, I'm going to come back to this in just a minute, but I'm going to go in and show you a graph, and on the graph, if you want to look at the bottom of page 306, okay? And I may just teach it from the book instead of writing it up there, okay? As you can see, you see this line right here? Whenever you're reading graphs, this line right here, whenever you're reading graphs, you're always going to read from left to right, okay? And so, if I'm reading from left to right, and this is line E, is the slope going down or up if I'm going from left to right? Hopefully you can see that my slope is going down, okay? That's important for you to notice. Now let's look at this one. If we're looking at F line, is this F line going, the slope going up or the slope going down? The slope is going up, okay? Now, something you're going to realize is this is going to give you a negative slope because you're going down. And this one's going up, so it's going to give you a positive slope. And we'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Let's go on and look at these ones too. I'm going to do this in just a second. But let's go on and do this right here. You see this car? Okay? They show you these are positive slopes because if you're reading from left to right, it's going up. That's a positive movement, up. These ones are a slope down, and so those are called negative slopes because it's going down, it's falling. Okay? Negative, positives. Okay? Those are just something I wanted to share real quick. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is I'm going to draw a line up here. And I'm going to put a dot right here on this 5, okay? Now, it goes on and it slopes down like this, okay? And they asked me, what is, or find the y-intercept, okay? As you can see, this is my y-axis. So, at what point did this line intersect the y? It intersected at 5. So the y-intercept is 5. So your B answer is 5. Okay? Hopefully you can see that and understand that where did this line right here, where did it intercept with the y-axis? Intersect means it crossed. Where did it cross in the y-axis? It crossed on 5. So the y-intercept is 5. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right, now let's go on and move to the next portion that I want to teach you, and that is slope. The slope is, and I want you to write this down, slope, or M, equals rise over run. Now I'm going to explain to you what that means. This could actually be rise or fall, depending on if it's a positive or a negative number, and then run, left or right. Okay, so rise or fall, and then run. Okay, so the M is the slope, all right, and it means to rise or fall, and then run. So for example, if I were to have this negative, or this 5 right here, okay, if I were to, I graphed my 5, okay, and if I was going to figure out how much it rose or fell, this really comes in handy if you've got graph paper because you can see it very easy, okay? And so I'm actually going to graph a new one and we're going to walk through this. I think I'm going to go on and try. The only problem with this is I don't have perfect lines up here for you to see, so it'll probably be hard, but I'm going to do my best. So, okay, let's go on. Now that you know rise or fall, let me go on and share something about this. For example, if rise and fall, let's just say it's going to be a negative 3 over 2. That is my rise and run. Okay, so if I were to put this back up into here, this y would read y equals my m, my slope is negative 3 over 2 and then the x just stays as x, plus, and then the b is a 5. So, I'm going to graph my 5, since I know that that's my y-intercept. And then, look what's going to happen. I'm either going to rise or fall, and since it's a negative, I know I'm falling 3. So I'm going to fall 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to run 2 times, which means run. So we're going to go 1, 2. Okay? See that? Now, let's go again. We're going to fall, negative, fall 3, 1, 2, 3, run 2, 1, 2. Put a spot right there. You see what I'm doing? Again, I'm going to fall, negative, 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and run 2, 1, 2. Hopefully you can see that I've got a line. Okay, pretend, now these numbers are not exactly the same width, so it's not going to come out exactly perfect on my board, but on graph paper it will because everything is even. Okay, so as you can see, since I have a negative right here, that shows me that my slope is going to go like this. So if yours is not, remember, because you're reading from left to right. And so if it's going down, then it's falling, which is, the slope is a negative number. So we're going to be going down. We're going to be falling. Okay? So that would be graphing that. Okay, let's try another one. Now, hopefully you took good notes on that. Okay? Here comes the next problem. Okay? Now here's what they do. They put a dot right here. Okay? And they told me to try to come up with this answer, y equals mx plus b. So basically they're wanting us to come up with this and put it into this form. Well, this is kind of actually easy, so we're going to take it step by step. What would my b be? My b would be a 3 because that's where it will eventually cross, whether which way I go this way or if I go this way, however I go, it's going to cross, it's going to intercept on the y-axis on the 3. So I know that my b is a 3, just with that dot they put. Okay? Now, they go on and draw a line that goes like this. 2, and again, this is hard without something like that. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to do. If you can look at your book on page 309, I want you to see where this line crosses and makes a dot. So, for example, let me show you this on my book. Right here. Okay, hopefully you can see. Let that zoom in for a sec. Okay, right here. Hopefully you, oh, sorry, we're doing this one. This is the one they had, and then I went on, let me go on and erase these. Okay, this is the dot they put on here. Actually, they didn't. Okay, I looked at this line and I said, where is it crossing the y-axis? And it's crossing it here, which is my 3, positive 3. So I know that my 3 is my b. B is 3. Now, then I want you to look at this, and I want you to look on your book because you'll probably be able to see better. But this line continues on, and then it crosses where this and this make a perfect intersection. And then if you look down, keep going, here's another perfect intersection. Hopefully you can see those, where those intersect perfectly. Where this dot and this dot, you see this cross? Crosses right here. This cross matches right on this line. This is cross right here. Matches right on this line. Cross, matches right on this line. Hopefully you can do that. Now, so what that means is, watch what happens, and I'm going to walk through this with you. As you can see, if I'm reading from left to right, is this going to be a negative or a positive? It's going to be a negative slope. okay? Because it's going down. Therefore, I know that what is happening is I'm falling 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So I fell 3 over 2. Fell 3 over 2. Fell 3 over 2. See what I'm saying? So each time I'm falling, remember falling 3, running 2. Each time I'm going to run 2 to the right. So I'm falling 3 over 2, falling 3 over 2, falling 3 over 2. So guess what my slope is? Negative 3 over 2. And so where this m is, I put a negative 3 over 2. And then I just add my x plus and my y equals. And this becomes my slope-intercept form answer for this line. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's do a few more so you can kind of get the hang of it. Okay? Here we go. Let's do a different color this time. Okay. This time it says, it shows me a line. And let me see if y'all can do this one with me. Okay, look at this line. Right there. This one right here. Okay. What I want you to do, and I'm going to draw a line on here. Okay, we're looking at this one. Where does this line cross at the y? It crosses at the negative 2. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make this as easy as possible with what you can see. Okay, now we're going to look at this and I'm going to ask myself, where do I have a perfect cross? Where it crosses right there. There's one. I see another one right here. Okay, let's look this way. I see a perfect crossing here. So I'm going to put a dot here and I see a perfect crossing here. That means, as you can see, this is rising. It is a positive slope. And what I want you to see is that this is my b. My b is negative 2. Okay? Because that's where on the y-axis this line crosses. Negative 2. But what is my slope? Well, let's look at this. Because I'm going up, I'm going to rise 1 and run 2. Rise 1. Right here. Rise 1, run 2. So even from this spot, we're going to rise 1 and jump 2. Rise 1, jump 2. So every single movement I make is a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So what that means is, if I'm writing this on my graph up here, here's what that means. Okay. All right, let me draw this one up here for y'all. We went through the line negative 2, so I've got this little dot here, and it's going up 1 over 2. So here's another dot, up 1 over 2, another dot, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Okay, 1 over 2. Wait, there. Down 1 over 2. Okay, so as you can see, this is our line. Okay, now what is this? Y equals mx plus b. My b was what? Negative 2. That's where it intersected along the y-axis. And then what happened? It's going in a positive slope. So I know this is going to be a positive rise. So we rised up 1 and went over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1, my rise was a 1, my run was a 2. X plus negative 2, y equals. Okay? Rise and run where it crosses or intersects. That is my answer for what is this line in Y-intercept form? That's the answer. Hopefully this is making sense. Okay? Now, let's take one. They give us the y-intercept and we have to graph it. For example, here's what they tell me. Y equals negative 3/5 x plus 2. Okay, First thing you want to do is look at what your b is. It's a positive 2. So on my y-axis, I'm going to find my 2 and put a dot on it. Got it? Now, this is negative 3/5. Okay, 3/5, negative 3/5. But this is actually seen as rise, run. So, because it's a negative answer, I'm actually going to be going down. Okay? So, watch what happens. I'm going to go down 3, negative, falling 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I'm going to put a dot. And I'm going to start from this one. I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you see, we have got a line that's going down because it's a negative, okay? And this is my answer in graph form. This equals that, okay? That's what we're trying to express, all right? Now, before we move on, let's do one more, and this time I'm not going to put it in slope-intercept because I want you to learn how to put it in slope-intercept. And so what I mean is this. If I have x minus 2y equals 4, okay, if it helps you to go in and put that a 1x, you can. That's fine. But it's really not necessary for this problem, and you'll see why. Okay, because what we're trying to do is get the y by itself. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on and, let's see, I'm trying to decide if I should put it over here. I'm going to make this plus negative. Okay, so I'm going to move my y over here and my number over here. So, let's move this over here. So, I have to keep my 2 and y together at first. So, if I move a negative 2y across the equals, it's going to become a positive 2y. And then this 4, which is a positive, I'm going to make it a negative. So, it's going to become x plus a negative 4. Got it so far? Okay, now, it says 2 times y, okay? And so if I were to do this, actually I am going to keep that 1. I like working with 1s. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm going to because it helps me. Okay, so since it says 2 times y, in order to get rid of the times 2, I'm going to divide by 2. Divided by 2, divided by 2. Now, that gets rid of that. And so now I have y equals, I'm just going to put y equals, and then it's 1/2 x plus, now what is negative 4 divided by 2? Remember, if you just have an odd number of negatives, your answer is going to be negative. So it's going to be 4 divided by 2 is 2. So negative 2. Okay? This becomes my new slope-intercept form. Okay? Now, remember, we graph our negative 2 on the y-axis. So I graphed it. And now, this is going to be a positive slope because it's a positive number right here. And so we're going to go up 1, rise of 1, run of 2. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And as you can see, that becomes our line. This answer is this, but in slope-intercept form, it's this. So, there you have it. Okay? Hopefully this is all making sense. Now they do want me to teach you one more thing. And that's if you're not really getting how to do this slope-intercept form and how to figure out where to place it on the map and on the graph and where to go if you're supposed to go up 1 over 2 or how you're supposed to do it. You can use this form instead, and it's called the slope-intercept method of graphing, okay? And so what they're going to do, here's what they give me. They tell me that y equals negative 3/5 x plus 2. Now, this is kind of the old-fashioned way, okay? We're going to come up with x's and y's and graph them on the coordinate system. Okay, you did this a long time ago. I'm actually going to make one more. Okay, so if I were to make x 0, well, 0 times anything is 0. So 0 times negative 3/5 is 0, and 0 plus 2 is 2. So if x is 0, then y is 2. Alright? What if x is 5? Now I'm going to choose 5 because, watch what happens. 5 is actually 5 over 1, so this negative 3/5 x times x would actually become 5 over 1 because I'm using 5 for my x. And I wanted to make it a fraction because this is a fraction. Okay? So let's go and do it. This crosses out. And so my answer is negative 3 for this portion plus 2. So my y is a negative 1. So if my x is 5, then my y is negative 1. Hopefully you're staying with me. We've done these before, so I'm just quickly doing it. All right, let's try another one. It said negative 3/5 x plus 2. Okay, let's choose another x. I'm going to choose a negative 5. Okay, so this x, I'm going to put a negative 5 over 1. I'm going to multiply that. So 5 will go into 5 one time, 5 will go into negative 5, negative 1. So now negative 3 times negative 1 makes a positive 3 over 1. So I'm just going to put a 3. Positive 3 over 1 is 3. And then 3 plus 2 is 5. Okay? Now, let's graph this. If x is 0, meaning I'm not going left or right, then y is 2. 1, 2. I graphed it. If x is 5, then y is negative 1. So that would look like 5, negative 1 in the coordinate system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1. And if x is negative 5, then y is 5. Negative 5, 5. Negative 5, 5. Okay, still, you're able to see that we can graph it. Okay, so y equals negative 5 third plus 2, x plus 2, gives us that, whether you do it the old-fashioned way using this chart, or if you just look at this and go, okay, I want my 2, graph my 2, and then I'm going to go down 5 over 3. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3. Okay? You're right there. So, down 5 over 3. Down 5 over 3. Down 5 over 3, and as you see, we keep going through. Okay? So, no matter how you do it, the old-fashioned way, the way you learned probably in the very, very beginning, or if you learn it by the way I taught you to graph the 2 on the y-axis and then to go down 5 over 3. Down 5 over 3. And you'll eventually get the same answer however you do it. Okay, now, your practice. In your practice, you're going to get a line that looks like this, and you're going to get a line that looks like this. Now remember, if it's just a horizontal or a vertical line, well, you're going to get an answer as x equals whatever or y equals whatever. But if it has a slope, it needs to be written in slope-intercept form. Got it? That is lesson 75.